Hi, if you heard that, no you didn't. I was just trying some stuff outside during the starting screen there. But hey, hold on, I need to link this elsewhere. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Alright, now we're good. Now let's play the thing I wanted to play. I just want some background music because it's going to be like a more of a just chat. I know I have the game was Finding Frankie, but this is going to be more of a just chatting stream, more or less, than anything else. I should be able to hear this in the background. Perfect, so just have some random Persona music playing in the background. I wanted to find something to play while I was blabbing on, and I was thinking at first of maybe doing like Expedition 33 music. Okay, weird intro. Okay, never mind, it's playing something else. So yeah, I was thinking like maybe playing Mario Kart or Expedition 33 music, but it just didn't feel the best for me, so I just went with Persona because why not? I am in the middle of playing through Persona 3 Reload. But yeah, this is going to be kind of basically a recap of, just real quick, my experience going to SGDQ. So I guess one thing to start off with, it's the longest I've been at a GDQ event, actually, because most of the time when I go to GDQ events, I would only go for like 3 or 4 days of the 7 day week duration, or 7 day duration of the event, because at the time, like for the first 6 years, no, 5 years, I went to the event. Like the first 5, 6 years I went to the event. I was still in school, so and also I was still living with my parents, so like that had its own thing. It's like basically I could only go for half of the week, like I said, and B, I'd usually be accompanied by my parents. But this is the first time I not only went solo, but went the whole week. Because, I have a lot more freedom with that, given I live on my own now, which is pretty cool. Also, I got an ad in the middle of my music. Thanks, YouTube. Yeah, first time I've gone for the full week. Now, I do have a photo thread, because I did do a selfie thread and everything like I do with every GDQ event I go to. So let me just pull that up. Because there's a lot of people I want to like shout out, and the photo thread relates to that. Did I not send it? Weird. Maybe I did and I just forgot. I did send it. Okay, it just got buried under a bunch of DMs, because like I have an alt account. I'm not gonna link the profile, of course. That I just use to like bookmark random stuff, and like and retweet more spicy fan art, basically. And I sent the selfie thread to there just to like bookmark it for later, because unfortunately Blue Sky does not have bookmarks yet. And it just got buried under all those DMs I sent to my alt account with art in it. But yeah, got the selfie thread pulled up. So I got there July 6th, no, 5th. July 5th, because I arrived the day before the event started. So technically I stayed a full week, even though I didn't stay for the whole event, per se. Honestly, flying there wasn't too bad. I'm kind of used to it because of I went to SGDQ last year by myself as well. So it's not my first rodeo with traveling solo, but still went okay. The only like kind of frustrating thing about it is, well, I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but I guess the kind of slightly annoying thing about it is I'm just not in proximity to any good airports. So I wound up having to do this like I wound up having to do layover, basically, is what I'm saying. I wound up having to take a layover flight. It wasn't the worst, but there's still the extra time you have to wait at the airport, which can be kind of boring. And I apologize if I forget anything in particular while I recount this. There's likely a chance I'm going to forget something just because, you know, my memory is like a goldfish, and there's just a lot of things you end up doing at cons that you just forget about to some degree after the fact, because like it happens so much fast and so often it's like a blur, kind of, because like you're doing so many things to have fun, you know. But yeah, let me try to recall. So I got there Saturday, not too much there. Just I got there pretty late, couldn't really do much, so I just went straight to my room. And then Sunday, day of the event started. I met quite a few people. I can't recall anyone in particular, just a lot of people I recognize. Just to mention a few, I guess. I think I met Anarchy and T-Tree? I'm not positive. I don't know. I just remembered Anarchy in particular, so shout out to Anarchy. But yeah, I just basically set up my game on the practice room PCs, which wasn't too bad. Finding Frankie is a very small game. It's like 5-10 gigabytes. It's not that big by any stretch. Speaking of the practice room, though, and speaking of Shark, because I did briefly mention him, I want to shout him out, as well as a couple of other runners that were using one of these at the event. So that's a Seagate portable drive right there. Much better than just using a... Okay, tried to re-plug in my hard drive. Much better than a USB drive, because it's faster transfer speeds from one, and you can hold a lot more. Like, I think I have a few like down patches of games just for speedrun purposes stored on there right now. Yeah. Just for later. I can just use that instead of a USB drive for future events. Yeah, Sunday, not really much happened. Because, like, it's the first day. Hardly anyone's gonna be there. And, like, that's kind of the thing with GDQ, right? Most of the people you really talk to, on average, are, like, only there half of the event. So for me, at least, I noticed this time around, there's kind of, like, this wait period in the first couple of days where, I guess they'll do stuff. There's like a lot of places to go in the event venue. But like there's not many people to talk to, at least ones that you recognize personally, so. Something I kind of want to be upfront about too, and I'll talk about this a bit more with some specific instances later. It's kind of obvious on my stream, and especially on my Blue Sky / social media by now, if you follow those. Where I'm non-binary, leaning towards potentially transitioning to female. I'm not like afraid to mention that. That's a thing I'm pretty open about, just in case you're wondering about that. But in any case, since I'm kind of in that gender questioning zone, I decided, okay, this is given my like HRT trial back in first few months of the year, I decided, okay, this is going to be the first GDQ event where I'm more openly femme, more openly genderqueer. Like literally during the horror block, I wore a skirt and thigh highs. I was like, what better outfit to be more openly femme and then something like that. Let's be real. I gave more nail polish to the whole event. I even got some compliments on it, which is pretty nice. So yeah, Sunday, nothing much happened. Just kind of met a few people that I recognized. I think I might have met Meta the first day. I might be wrong. You might be able to fact check me, but I think I met him because I think he was practicing Red Alliance in the practice room. That might have been Monday though. I might be misremembering. Oh yeah. One other thing besides what I just talked about with being more open about gender. So the thing with this SGDQ is that there's a lot more than just like the stream room, the practice rooms, and the board game rooms and stuff like that. They had a little artist alley. You can probably see some items down there. Yeah, down there. I'll be showing those off later, don't you worry. I'll pick them off from the prison on the carpet floor. Yeah, there's an artist alley in this event, so a lot of cool, like even outside the event, there's just a lot of really cool stuff to look at. Lots of really cool pieces, which I bought and I have here in the room. Some others I bought but aren't quite here yet because they're like a separate thing I had to ship outside the event. You'll see what I mean when I explain it later. But yeah. Then we move on to Monday, July 7th. I met quite a few people there. I also managed to take selfies with some of them, which is why I was trying to pull up the thread earlier. So let me raise the music volume up a little bit just so you can hear it a bit better. I have it at max at my audio source volume adjustment in OBS, so hopefully it doesn't blast your ears if a particularly loud song plays. Ooh, this one's a good one. It's the FMC battle theme from P3 Portable. I kind of regret not completing Portable now, but also, you know, we're basically caught up and then some with Reload with where we were in Portable. But yeah. I don't know why I said I regret it. I don't know. Like, I like the fact that FMC's in the game, and I really wish she was in more Persona games. I really wish she was in Reload too, but like, I don't know. OG Persona 3, like Portable and Fest, even the vanilla original, just doesn't hit for me personally. Yeah, Monday met quite a few people. Just looking at my thread, I got selfies with Anarchy, who I mentioned before. Meta, or Cam is his real name, I think. It's Cam, not Cam, is his handle. Wait, what? Hold on, there's a post I made here where I just added Satan herself and Osmore, intending to post a picture to go along with it, and I forgot to add the picture. Hopefully I can get it up on stream. You know what, I'll send the picture to my, actually, no, wait.
So every team can work smarter and faster. Asana, the #1 AI work management platform.
Oh my god, not AI, get out of here. Trying to find the picture. I can't believe I forgot to add the picture. That's just gonna look weird out of context. Like, oh, I added them, but there's nothing in it. Yeah, I did take the picture. Okay, so I just uploaded it to my alt account. I'll pull up the picture, but I won't show the @ of the account just so you can't find it. I'll just open it in a separate tab. And I'll bring it up here. So it's gonna be real big, so don't mind that. Oh, I already have an OpportunityX window. Here we go. I think this should be it. Oh, what? Let me drag it above the face cam. There we go. That's the picture I meant to send. That's the picture I took with Osborne Satan herself. I don't know how I forgot to add that to the thread, but okay. Whoopsie. It happens. It happens. Oh yeah, speaking of, Monday had a bunch of pretty hype runs. Let me pull up the schedule. So I can call. Monday was pretty hype. Because speaking of that selfie I just showed, oh yeah, also, Monday morning had a game that is a big nostalgia trip for me. Because Monday morning we had Dynamation running Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I'm sure a lot of people share a sentiment too. For people who grew up in the late '90s, early 2000s, like me, but Roller Coaster Tycoon, well, some other games too, but especially Roller Coaster Tycoon was practically my childhood. So the fact that it was being sped ran, much less than a GDQ event, was just crazy to me. As soon as I saw that it was on the schedule and I was in the practice room while Dynamation was practicing, I was like, okay, I'm locked in. I'm watching this. It was pretty funny to watch too, because like, you know, it's a as the name implies, it's a park management sim. So there's like a lot of like guest manipulation and like trying to get to like the goal of each park as fast as you can, because like it's Loopy Landscapes, this category. There's like different parks you have to work through, different scenarios you have to do in each one, which basically just equates to certain objectives you have to hit, which can be anything like, oh, getting a certain amount of guests in your park, or getting a certain amount of excitement rating, basically how good is your park, or, you know, the amount of revenue you get, you know, stuff like that. And you can do it in like really funny ways with some cheese. It's like some interesting manualing with laying down the track squares too. So, because like he did a bunch of hockeying to lay it down really fast. So we had Roller Coaster Tycoon. Talos Principle reawakened as well, which I still need to watch because puzzle game nerd. Speaking of puzzle games, actually, I know I'm probably going to go off on a lot of tangents, but speaking of puzzle games, there was a new puzzle game announced, I think, just before SGDQ. Not being ran at SGDQ, but still a puzzle game. It's Hotel Infinity, which is a VR game, for one, so like VR puzzle game. That's actually kind of crazy to start with. But it's William Shear, yes, our man that has made Manifold Garden in the past, which I've sped ran a lot before. This is basically his follow-up to it, and it looks absolutely nutty. What's nice too is that it's pretty accessible from what I've seen, because it's a room scale first game. Room scale in VR is basically this like play style where you can just sit in place and not move too much outside of where you're sitting. You can just like lean over and interact with stuff instead of having to move around all over the place, which is really neat. Because like it's not like, you know, Half-Life Alyx, for example, where for speedruns of that game you have to have a lot of space just to move around fast. Although I imagine, even though this game is room scale first, it's probably going to have something where we can break through walls with VR. I'm sorry, with VR shenanigans. I just know that's going to happen with it being VR. It's going to happen at some point. It's pretty abundant with Half-Life Alyx, so it's going to happen with Hotel Infinity for sure. At least once I get me or Osborne get our hands on it. Alright, and then Sign 2 New Colossus, which I'll be honest, like besides the Balatro run, which I'll talk about later, because that's way later in the event, It's probably one of the ones I was most looking forward to for this entire event. Literally, I decided in the middle of my Call of Duty Veteran Challenge, basically, fuck it, we ball. We're throwing Wolfenstein 2 in there as well. For two reasons. One, Anarchy is a good person in general. Shouts to Anarchy. And I just wanted to like hype up her run. But also, it's just a very important game, I personally believe, for the times that we're in right now, and I'm sure Anarchy feels the same. Well, Anarchy on our couch as well feels the same, because, like, because, like, the whole thing about the game, right, and not to get too deep into politics, but the whole thing with the game is, like, you're fighting against bad people, I'll put it that way, and it's very apt for the times that we're in right now. And when she did her first GDQ run of this, I think, back for Black in a Flash, I think is the... No, Back to Black was the name. Back in February for Hotfix. There was a similar speech to what she did at the end of this run, for that run. Also nice. Life will change. She did a speech at the end of this run, kind of like she did at the end of that one. And at the end of the Back to Black run, that speech that she made, which is basically like I don't want to dumb it down too much, but it's basically you know, fight for what you believe in, basically, is what it boils down to. I'll be honest with you, and this is not like me being hyperbole or anything like that, but that was like a right thing at the right time kind of moment. Because I consider this, right, when she made that speech, when she did that run, I think this was like late February, like February 20th, I want to say, somewhere around there. That was in the middle of my HRT trial, back in the first few months of the year. So my mind was going through all sorts of stuff. I was in a depressive mood a lot of the time, to be quite frank with you. So to have that kind of encouragement in the times that we're in, twice as well, because she obviously did this run for SGDQ, was just so refreshing. Huge props to Anarchy for that. I meant to tell her that in person at SGDQ, actually, but I ended up not doing so. I did get a selfie with her, though, so that's something. So did I close out of Blue Sky? I think I did. I'll just reopen the tab. So there's... And we have blueprints right after that. I was just trying to get back to the selfie thread again. And we have blueprints. Of course, really, speaking of puzzle games, really big puzzle roguelike, interestingly enough. That's going on right around now. I still need to get around to playing that, because like I played it briefly on PlayStation on a friend's console. I never played it much after that, so I need to get back into it. Alright. See, I didn't watch the run, obviously, because spoiler stuff, it's that kind of game, but, you know, it seemed interesting. I vaguely saw Mitch's Get to Work run, and then Uncharted 3 before that. But in the few hours those runs happened, I was actually back in the practice room, because, of course, we're getting to my run that I did. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the music because we're going to move over to this layout. We're going to pull up my run and we're going to react to it, basically play by play. Well, not play by play, but like I'm going to commentate over it, obviously. I accidentally went to a split screen mode apparently. Hello? Alright, so I'm just trying to find my run. Oh, fuck you, ads. Get out of here.
In on this.
Alongside having to do a few breaker.
Oh, I also met T-Tree too. Because obviously he was my co-commentator for this run. I technically didn't need a co-commentator. I can commentate Finding Frankie just fine solo, but I basically had him there as moral support, just in case I like mess something up or like am tired. Because the run was late. It was like at nearly 6 a.m. Which, you know, is fine. I'm used to that because literally my first couple runs for GDQ ever in SGDQ 2017 and 18 were also really early, or basically at ASO clock hours. But still, it's just good to have that insurance just in case.
Which is kind of difficult to.
Alright, so that's a good volume. I need to fix the capture. Alright, there it is. Actually, well, hold on. Nah, actually we're fine. I'll just leave it. Actually, we'll look, we make full screen. Answer way too dang big. No, that's fine. We'll work with this. Also, I think when I did my like previous reaction videos, I just like downloaded it to be able to play in like the Photos app or VLC later, but I'm lazy, basically. So yeah, we had my run. It went honestly pretty solid overall, but there's like some weird stuff that happened that you'll see in the first few minutes.
Alright. Alright, cool. Thank you for that, JPEG. Hey, I am Nerd Squared. I run a bunch of weird indie games. And continuing with that theme, I'll be running Finding Frankie. Just think of it as like Poppy Playtime, Extra Bang 2. You'll see what I mean. Joining me is T-Tree, who is mainly
Hey, T-Tree.
and also hosted my run of Poppy last year.
It's true.
But yeah, this is going to be any percent inbounds. There's a route you can take in this game where you can go from the very beginning to the very end through a route that is very not marathon safe.
Also, speaking of what I was talking about, being more openly femme,
Beginning to the very end through a route
notice the nail polish.
that is
Just putting that out there.
not marathon safe.
Also, speaking of Anarchy, since I mentioned her earlier, and Meta as well, I noticed when I may end up changing keyboards because of them, to put it bluntly, because I noticed when they were practicing in the practice room, they have these like weird keyboards, which I later found out are from the brand Keychron, I believe is how you pronounce it. Where it has these like little knobs you can use for different stuff, and I was like, okay, yes, I want that. I've also kind of been needing to move away a little bit from the TKL keyboard I have right here, because the TKL layout doesn't have a numpad, which is kind of useful for certain games like Pandora Tomorrow or certain other PC games where you can enter keypad codes really fast. And there's an option I found, because I did some research on it earlier, where you can have like custom keycaps and switches for it too, which is really neat. So I honestly might just get backups of this current Celestial Ice layout and move it over to that one. I should order that one. But yeah, anyway, back to the run.
I'm just going to be doing inbounds because it's safer and you get to see more of the game.
Yep. And I didn't mention it here, but I did talk about it later. I'm on. It might be a little hard to see, actually. No, I should be able to see it. Just make it real big here. Yes, like right around here, where my cursor is, it's version 1.0.0, which is the release patch of the game, obviously. It doesn't actually let us do any exclusive skips, except I guess for the out of bounds you can do in the out of bounds categories, but there is one like little quirk with the release version that we'll see later on. Basically lets us skip an area for free because of some weird triggers. Or not some weird triggers, but just some weird objective stuff going on.
Alright, so we're going to get this quick opening cutscene. Oh, or not?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about the call, by the way. I'll explain that later, too. Yeah, I just had a weird mishap here. I forgot to delete the save before starting the run, because saves in this game work basically unlike any other game. Because, like, it's not like other games where you can just, like, oh, click a new game and start from there. You actually have to go into the options menu. I think it's game under the different tabs. Then there's a button at the bottom that says reset game. You click that and it'll reset your save data. It won't reset your settings or anything, but it will delete your save data so you can start from scratch. It's a bit of a weird way to do new game in my opinion, but hey, whatever works. So I just forgot to do that before the start of the run.
Delete my save data. Yep, that happened.
I'll just blame it on late night jitters. Also, I had way too many Red Bulls before this, because obviously the event is sponsored by Red Bull. I think I had like 2 or 3 before I did this run. Actually, no, that's not true. I had like I think like a Starbucks mocha, ice mocha, I should say, and then 2 Red Bulls before this. Because like it was late at night, I wanted to be sure I was up in order. Alright, so you're gonna see me freaking out right there. That'll happen for the first couple of minutes of the run too. There's this weird bug I had on the like stream PCs, not on any other machine, but just so happened to happen at this moment on the stream room PCs, where I had a bit of jittering with my mouse, because the mouse I use for the run is the same one you see here, this really cute Ica branded G309 Lightspeed. And obviously operates okay. I did not mean to do that.
Just by thinking about
Get ready to see this ad.
Phase 44.
It's AI bullshit, by the way. Don't have to worry about that. But yeah. Yeah, I had some weird mouse jitters. I don't really know what caused it too, because I literally had no issues with this mouse until then. If I had to guess, it's like some weird thing with like me running the game with the settings I had, or the mouse I was using, of course, this one, being like Bluetooth or something similar. And I call this things out in particular because I was running roughly the same settings I do at home, which is basically everything else but textures on low, with textures on like medium or high. And then FPS, I like to have it at 80 or above. Because when you start running at like 60 hertz, I did request a high refresh rate monitor for this. For what I'm about to explain. But yeah, I like to play at a high refresh rate and a high FPS as well, 80 or above, like I said, 80 or higher, like I said. Because it's such a fast motion game, obviously, with it being a parkour-esque game. Like I wanted the game to look smooth, basically. So I half wonder if it's because of the graphics being so high that it was like dropping mouse inputs, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. Because like the thing with these PCs on the stream room is that they're running. GDQ Tech can probably fact check me on this, but I believe they were running RTX 30 series cards. Maybe even a bit higher than that. So like, it was pretty capable for this kind of game, honestly, but I guess there was like a bit of stress being put on it somehow. That, or like I said, it's just some weird Bluetooth stuff, but yeah. And what was annoying too is that like I had to, or what was kind of like scary about it in the moment is I didn't know this was just like some freak accident with my mouse or something was genuinely wrong with the computer and that we needed to like go to intermission to fix it. So like I was just like panicking in my mind thinking about what to do.
And also hosted my run of Poppy last year. But you can delete my save data.
It was like right there after I reset my save. The mouse just started acting really weird and I was like, what's happening?
There we go. Just have to alt-tab out to fix it.
Yeah, Alt-tab and fix it for now, but then it happened again during the intro and I had to like unplug and replug my mouse back in to fix it.
Spirit Bills is like a really Wonka type setup where you get this exclusive invite from this cereal box and you get to participate in this game show that we're about to play. And so I'm going to skip this cutscene and then time starts when this loading symbol disappears on the bottom right after I skip it.
You remember Double Dare? You remember the physical challenge?
Yeah,
This
go,
is basically
by
all
the
that.
You know, I never heard of Double Dare before T-Tree mentioned it on stage. I should go ahead and look that up. Alright, let me look this up. I was on Nick? Why the hell haven't I watched this yet? Double Dare. Oh shit, yeah, this literally is Frankie. Basically, it's like obviously a kid version of Frankie. There's no like blood and guts going on, but it quite literally is Frankie. That's actually a pretty good comparison there. I need to check out Double Dare at some point. Shouts to T-Tree for mentioning Double Dare.
One quick sec.
Thank you for the Double Dare callback, by the way.
Absolutely.
Actually, no.
And then I went back out of the menu and it fixed it because Bluetooth mice are weird or something.
Like I said, this is a parkour-based horror game. The main way that Manifest is
Yeah, honestly, the commentary itself didn't go too bad because like it's one of those games where like I can just like run it off the cuff and do commentary on autopilot. I'm the same with a lot of the horror games I run, like Silent Hill 2 remake and things like that.
mouse button to be able to do that. And also, if you slide into a wall and then do a jump like this, you gain a bit of extra height from that. So we're going to use both of those techniques kind of in tandem to do a lot of cool movement and platforming tricks. So
Also, no slack. Wait. That's not the right word. No shade, I guess. There we go. No shade to the GDQ like committee who planned out the schedule and stuff, but like the hour for Vive runs sucked. Because, like I said, it was at 6 a.m. You can see 5:45 right there. So it was like 5:40 a.m. when I started the run. And, like, there were some people for the run right before mine. Shouts to Schmumler with Hungry Ghost, which I still need to watch, by the way. Like, it was like at the awkward early morning hour where no one was in the audience. So it was like SGDQ 2017 when I ran Mater D all over again.
it's very fast-paced. Just warn you in advance. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening very quickly, so get used to that.
Yeah, you probably came into this thinking this is a horror run. It's marked as such on the schedule. This is a movement run.
Yeah.
There's also some horror elements, but
Actually, it might be my mouse. Hold on. Let me.
Yeah, I plugged my mouse and plugged it back in. I took my mouse out and plugged it back in there.
All right.
What was kind of annoying about the mouse messing up there in particular too is I had a whole bit planned explaining about, oh, we're on this game show competing against these 3 other contestants. Oh wait, they just died at the starting line. Whoops. I literally had a whole bit planned for that and then the mouse messing up ruined it.
So that unfortunately, that contestant's gonna get.
But that's fine. I think I rebounded pretty well.
We didn't see it. It didn't happen.
Oh yeah.
No
sure.
spooks yet.
Yet. So
Yeah, just wait until Hexa Havoc later.
introduce to our main mechanic here, which is going to be these breaker puzzles. You just basically activate these breakers as kind of a key to activate doors for later on.
Yeah, so you can see the mouse messing up there, how it's like jittering to the side.
Activate those real quick. Go through this door.
But like I tried
We
to,
get to see our first.
I didn't want to like
so far.
go to break again over what I perceived to be a minor issue at the time, so I just like
Wall jump.
basically took the show must go on kind of approach and tried to pay it no mind.
Here with a pretty neat jump. At the top of the jump there, at the apex of it, I did a crouch. And that lets me just barely get over that railing. And we're right into this next room with another breaker puzzle. Just open this vent that's over here. As you might imagine, just watching it here, the movement is pretty difficult to execute.
It really is.
You know, pretty.
Speaking of Frankie, I'm kind of done with inbounds runs of the main categories for now. I'm pretty happy with where they are for the time being. But there are some pretty cool category extensions I want to look at. The other day I did a run of basically this game's equivalent of all achievements, platinum %. There's 14 achievements you can get for reference. And it's pretty fun. Like, not as complicated rounding wise as something like Manifold All Achievements, for example, which I basically routed all by myself. That was still fun to run for a couple runs. It was kind of annoying though, because like I got one really good run that was like I think a 2850 or something, IGT of course, and OBS did some weird thing where it didn't record the audio for some reason, so I had to do another run, and I got a run that was better by half a minute, which is surprising considering that I had like 3 deaths or so where I really shouldn't have for whatever reason. So yeah, probably can be improved to sub 28 with inbounds rules, of course, and there's even some out of bounds skips I think some other people running the category have done, but it's platinum % in the other category extensions. Obviously, our category extensions are things I just kind of run for fun. I'm not really taken super seriously. But one I kind of want to do is sprintless or slideless. Slideless in particular. Is that those two seem kind of fun, kind of like what I did for Runless or Sprintless with Outlast Whistleblower a couple years back. So yeah.
Because like you have tight hallways with it being a horror game, and then you add the parkour movement on top of that, and it's even more difficult to execute.
Yeah, the timing in particular for that crouching and sliding is really tight because if you do it too closely together, you'll end up essentially doing a neutral jump because the vectors for your movement horizontally and vertically are kind of independent, so the vertical will override the horizontal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just remembered something else about this run that was extremely cursed, and you might have been able to hear it very faintly just there. So my run very nearly went off the rails because of this motherfucker. Because obviously with my run being late in the morning, or I guess early in the morning, depending on how you look at it, I wanted to set an alarm to make sure that I could wake up, the night before, just to take a quick nap before I'm essentially staying up all night. Just so I could adjust my sleep schedule. So I set an alarm for like dinner time the night before, which is roughly 6 p.m., or I think I actually set it to 5:46 p.m. Turns out a few of those alarms, because I usually set a few alarms just in case I missed the first alarm of the one I'm intending to wake up to. 2 of the 3 alarms I set, I accidentally set to AM instead of PM. And so my phone's alarm went off mid-run. And I was like, I literally had to deal with like the mouse crap at the start of the runs. Like when I heard my phone alarm go off, I was like, oh god, no, come on, not this. It's like I just like ignored it and tried to play the best I could, which I think I did a pretty good job of. But like at one point, I was just like, okay, you can like shut up now, phone. So I just like you'll see it later, like very subtly on camera. I like put my phone underneath my bag just so it wouldn't like be as audible through the mic because you can clearly hear it right there, obviously.
Yeah, and it looks really goofy too, because like he'll
Apparently production didn't hear it because I did ask about that afterwards, which is weird, but okay.
I was basically trying to time some jumps right there at the very edge of the vents to get some bunny hops in there, which is kind of difficult to do, as you might imagine, because the ceiling of the vents are very low.
But it's appropriate. I'm sure Frankie will be happy about it.
Yeah, well, he's not very happy right now because he's chasing us.
Fair.
And this chase takes the form of Frankie chasing after us alongside having to do a few breaker puzzles.
Now, this movement was pretty solid, not too many complaints there. I've done this intro so much, obviously, through resetting, that like it just becomes second nature at this point.
Showcase of the movement, because it doesn't look like
It's pretty similar between all the categories, so it's not like there's anything really different you have to do between the categories.
And they can knock you into a pit and cause you to die. So I'm hitting a quick checkpoint reload right there. Oh, hold on. Okay.
Yeah, like, see that? I reached down to put to like shut off my phone so the alarm would stop. Oh my god. Like, this run was good. Obviously, the execution was solid in my view, and I feel like I did the commentary pretty well, but like internally I was just panicking because of all this stuff going wrong.
I'm doing a quick checkpoint reload right there because that avoids a cutscene where we drop down here. Just saves a couple seconds. And we'll do another.
Yeah, I think it wastes a bit of time RTA though, because you have to wait for the load screen.
Breaker puzzle to open this shutter.
There's even like one checkpoint reload I don't do in this. I would do in a normal run. Later in the trampoline park for a very similar reason.
What we're essentially doing in this early area is trying to find a guy named Henry Hotline to figure out what happened with Frankie killing the contestants at the start, more or less. But the way there is blocked right now, so instead...
Deputy Duck was pretty solid too. I think I got the movement here first try.
But to get to Deputy Duck, we'd have to do...
Which is pretty cool considering that like there's like 3 different places where you can soft lock. Oh, okay, not 3 different, there's more like 2 different. Oh, I guess kind of 3. It's like on this series of jumps I'm about to do right here, you can get caught in that corner right over here and get soft locks because you get out of that corner. You have to reload checkpoint. You can also hit, after getting over this like block wall right here, you can hit the red out of bounds squares and trigger Frankie cosplaying as a Jack-in-the-Box, which I did intend to do as a bit, by the way, but unfortunately the opportunity didn't present itself. And then once you get into the cylinder on the top, you can fall down if you're not careful. I went pretty solid here, I think. I got everything first try.
To get past that instead.
I might have had to retry this one.
Parkour mechanics.
No, I got that one first try. Okay.
Yeah. There's actually a more advanced version of that where you can jump straight to the cylinder, but it's pretty difficult. Only like, I'd say the top 3 runners really go for that.
Yeah. I saw Radish Traveler do that in a run. His PB is like, I think 30 something seconds below mine by now. Maybe less, given how good I've gotten at this game. But it's pretty difficult to do because like you have to land on the little wall at the end of the cylinder as it's rising up, which is pretty difficult to time from my experience. So I just go for what I did there, which is I guess kind of sort of the baby version, more or less, where you go, instead of going to the cylinder, you go to the trampoline at the end and then jump up and go over the cylinder. Now we get to Deputy Duck, my beloved.
We're gonna get introduced.
Shouts to the Superlu Discord for having a Deputy Duck emo, by the way. Love you for that.
A pretty cute cutscene. He's just kind of doing his own thing here, just acting all wild.
It really does speak for itself, honestly.
He just acts so goofy.
Agreed.
Yeah. Like in a second, he'll hit the ground, and when he hits the ground, you'll hear a quack. There he goes. He's a little leapy right now. Don't worry about him.
He's a little leapy.
The classic like Mac alert noise.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of angry at us picking him up though, so he's just gonna angrily peck at us. We'll just throw him at the wall to subdue him, and we'll use the radar function on Deputy
Now
Duck.
that noise, when Deputy Duck activated, if anyone's played Donut County, I'm like 90% convinced the Quack Anthem is built out of that noise.
T-Tree made that reference when I was showing him this game in the practice room like the night before, and I can't unsee it now. I need to look that up actually. Duck Anthem. Donut County. I'm sorry if I get copyright struck. Okay, here it is. Quack Anthem.
Hey, Evan.
Oh my god, after an ad from Fandango, get out of here. Oh my god, it literally is that sound. Did you hear that? Hold on. It literally is! What the fuck? Okay, hold on, I need to listen to that again. Oh my god, it literally is. God. Teacher, you are on the nose. Oh my god. Now I really can't unhear it.
Routing sense. Although, there is a funny glitch we can do with Deputy Duck at the end of this air duct. Because there's a cutscene right here, where you drop down the air duct, and if you pull out Deputy Duck as soon as...
Yeah, it just doesn't save any time, by the way. It's just a fun visual bug.
Stuff on the screen when you get to the bottom.
I should try that on Current Patch to see if it still works there. I think it should, but... yeah.
Not really useful for runs, it just looks kind of funny, so I kind of just
But now
like to do
Deputy
that out of
Duck is
boredom.
with us always.
Yeah.
Well, until we get to a cutscene later, then the UI will go away.
Yeah, because it goes away once you start the cutscene with Henry Hotline here. So yeah, like right there, the UI goes away.
Personal favorite character in this game, besides Deputy Duck. Henry
Yeah, Henry Hotline's really good. Like, I sung my praises about Deputy Duck earlier, but... also Shot Glass, by the way. I sang my praises about Deputy Duck earlier, but I really like Henry Hotline. Because, like, I had a... If you've played this game, you know about the, like, secret cutscene you can do with Henry Hotline, which you do have to do as part of Platinum Percent, speaking of Platinum Percent. But I had that cutscene as an incentive for this run, just because, like, the end outcome of it is so funny. And it turned out pretty well, I think. Obviously, it's a cutscene, so, like, a lot of the time during the cutscene, I just let donations fill, but it was still pretty fun. It was still pretty funny to show that on stage. But yeah.
This one really should say phones rang. I don't know, it's just a weird thing.
Yeah, and I brought that up as part of the commentary, because I was practicing this game with some inbounds runs for fun to practice, and the private practice run specifically. And then Juho came in, who I did meet like the day before this run, and he pointed out that discrepancy in the counter, and I was like, oh shit, you're right.
Maybe we're unringing the phones.
I guess so. Anyway, this is kind of intended to be a sort of stealth section where you're trying to ring these phones and avoiding Henry along the way. But we have a pre-planned route beforehand, so we can avoid him pretty easily.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good showcase of the slide jumps messing up. You saw me attempt to do it, and I didn't end up going anywhere.
Yeah, I think I missed like 3 slide jumps in a row if we go back real quick here.
Sort of stealth section where you're trying to ring these phones and...
Might have been 2 or 3, I'm not sure.
But we have a pre-planned route.
Yeah, that's one missed one.
So we can avoid him pretty easily. And that's a pretty good showcase.
Yeah, there's like 2 missed slide jumps in a row. Because, like, the thing with slide jumps in this game, at least the way I do them, is I guess it's at least partly based on my inputs. Because, like, since we have a visual aid here, my inputs in the game for jumping, obviously scroll wheel for jump, although it's technically space to jump because X mouse button control. But in addition to that, I have right click down to a slide. As for why I chose right click, it's because Radish Traveler, that's the bind that he uses for sliding. So typically when I do a slide jump, I go like this, if you can see that on the webcam. I right click and then immediately hit scroll, just like that. It's like if you hit it really close together, you'll get that like slide jump in place state. It's kind of annoying to deal with, but like I've gotten a pretty good handle on it, I think.
In case of the slide jumps messing up, you saw me attempt to do it and I didn't end up going anywhere.
And by the way, this is what everybody raised $5,000 is to see.
Yeah, 5,000 was the total for the incentive.
Pursuing us meet a quite explosive end.
Yep, we'll be seeing that in the cutscene layer thanks to y'all's donations.
Yeah, thank you everybody
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll be doing a chase sequence with him, and it's supposed to be a lot longer than what you're about to see, but we have a little shortcut that we can use to our advantage.
Yeah, and I literally did not learn about that shortcut until a couple weeks before SGDQ. Because I was doing some run, or actually it may have been a month before SGDQ. I think, yeah. Because I was doing some runs to celebrate getting into the event. And then I was looking at some of the top, actually not any percent inbounds runs, but 100% inbounds runs. Because I decided, you know what, at some point my 80% inbounds times are going to get so good I'm going to get bored of running the category. So I want to do the 100% version just to keep things fresh. And so I looked at the 100% inbounds record at the time by Ozeek, shouts to Ozeek, just to kind of learn the route. And I saw during this chase sequence that he does a shortcut by doing a crouch jump over a wall at the start of this chase. And I'm like, why have I not done that before? That's like 20 seconds of free time save, like 20-25 seconds. Because I don't have to do that whole sequence where I slide jump through the scaffolding in the hallways before the end door. And lo and behold, it does save you 20-25 seconds, because my PV is, compared to, like, 1947, I think was my first, or 1953, I think, was my first sub 20 time, it's 1925 now. And it's in large part because of that skip that I was able to get the time this as low as I have for any percent inbounds.
I also just want you all to listen to the music in the game in general, because it absolutely slaps.
Yep, because Henry Hotline's whole thing, right? He has a phone for a head. Well, during this chase sequence, there's like phone dial tones during the music, which is a really cool detail. Shouts to Super Loot Games for including that.
Also, I just zoomed down that hallway with some slide jumps and almost got bonked by Frankie, but...
Oh, so there's the phone alarm again. It comes back.
Ooh, okay, there we go. So that's a shortcut right there. I just do a crouch jump similar to what I did back earlier in the beginning area during the first course, and now we're into another course, which is Frankie's Crash Course. It's essentially this game's version of Hole in the Wall. As with normal Hole in the Wall, you have all these Frankie-themed props coming at you, and you have to kind of dodge and weave out of the way. It's also a bit of an auto score. You can see the timer in the back. It goes for about 1 minute. And like I said, you're supposed to dodge and weave back and forth. But there's actually a bit of a god spot here, where if you stand on the left two columns like I am, and then you just alternate left and right, you can avoid the props pretty easily every single time.
What do you say, nerd? You want to give Jay the rest of this time for donations?
Yeah, you have time for a few.
Yeah, and shouts to It's Melody from the Finding Frankie community for pointing out that specific cheese spot. Because literally the first few weeks I did runs of this, starting in like January of this year, I was mauling so hard in the early game. Because like you'd have the really hard movement you saw me do up until this point. I'd have to do a bunch of pretty precise slide jumps. I get to this minigame, the Frankie's Crash Course, and I didn't think anything other than, oh, I got dodge and weave back and forth to get out of the way of these props. So what I do is like, I go to one end of the arena, do a big slide jump to get to the other side, and then just alternate back and forth that way. And oftentimes I'd end up getting caught in a prop and pushed into these saw blades at the back. But Melody let me know, hey, you can actually just alternate left and right on the leftmost two columns, and it's pretty safe that way. And they come and the props that come at you in those leftmost two lanes come at you at a pretty consistent interval, so it's pretty easy to avoid them.
Absolutely. All right, we have $15 from The Magic Man. Good morning. My first donation for this week, but not my last. Let's have an excellent event this week. Keep on keeping on. And $10 from Hockey Babbler saying Nerd Squared running a massive.
Oh yeah, shouts to Hockey Babbler, by the way. I shall let the whole donation play out.
Horror game. It's more likely $10 from Hockey Babbler saying Nerd Squared running a mascot horror game. It's more likely than you think. Nerd, you're a delightful person and have been a great support and friendly competition on my speedrunning journey. I believe in your ability to outrun that rabbit.
Yeah. Thanks, Babs.
Thank you so much, Babs.
Yeah, I want to shout out Babs in particular. Because I met her, I think, like the night before this run, if I'm remembering right, and she was actually very nice and gave me this neat gift, which is this bracelet right here. You can probably see that on camera. There it is. I'll show it a bit more clearly in the camera right now, but like, something to know about Babs, right, is we've been speedrunning a lot pretty recently. We've been doing a lot of collaboration on routing for the funny wizard game, Secret Agent Wizard Boy. Shouts to Ducky. Which, by the way, just recently had an update that I probably need to play at some point. Because it actually added quite a lot of stuff. But we've been doing a lot of Wizard Boy routing and racing and stuff. We even did a Hotfix run together. Shouts to Asuka for letting us do that. So she gave me a couple of pins to start off with, and I'll talk about the bracelet too. But she gave me a couple of pins here. First of this couch. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. It's like this cute little couch. And then other one of Velocity right here, of course, the GDQ mascot. But she also gave me this bracelet right here, which I gotta say hits really fucking hard. Because what it says, I don't know if you can see it right there. It's, hold on. It's mirrored, you can't see it. But what it says is it's a bead bracelet, of course, that says Secret Agent Wizard NB. And then it has beads representing the trans and non-binary flags. I love you for that, Babs. Thank you. That bracelet is so good. Thank you for giving me that. I literally decided to wear it the rest of the event because obviously like I said at the start, I'm going to stuff exploring my gender, so to get that kind of gift was really nice. Thank you, Babs. Yeah, I'm just shouting that out right now because you happened to give the donation right there, so.
Got time for a couple more?
Oh yeah, I have time for about one or two more.
All right. An anonymous donor has sent in $51 and said, heard you needed this for something. And yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. It is donations like that that have met our wonderful incentives like Henry Hotline.
All right, so now we're in basically the back rooms of this facility. It's literally called the Utilidor in the game. I'm not kidding.
Yep,
Your eyes
true.
are not deceiving. You did just run over a big incinerator. Keep that incinerator in mind because we'll be coming back there for later. Because there's like a big breaker puzzle we have to do there towards the end game.
Yeah, that rail grinding movement is especially slick.
Yeah, if anyone here has played Jet Set Radio, it's basically like that in a horror game.
Also true.
Like I said, we're making our way through the Utilidors. We're going to come across a familiar face. You may recognize him from the beginning of the game. That's Frankie, not the other Frankie from earlier. This is the real Frankie, not clickbait. We have a bit of a cutscene here where he just sitting here yapping to us, talking about what our next objective is going to be, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is a bit of a talking sequence, so we're time for donations.
Yeah, I also
Speaking of that, I like had the like intrusive thought in my head for the longest time ever since I learned that this game got into SGQ and I invited T-Tree to be on for commentary. That Frankie in this game, this Frankie, not the evil Frankie, sounds a lot like T-Tree's normal speaking voice. So I mentioned that to T-Tree in the practice room, and he was like, yeah, so true, bestie, basically. And he latched onto that bit and ran with it, and I appreciate him for that.
All right, well,
It just kind of sucks too. Like, I love Inbounds, it's a really fun category, but like, there's so much downtime in like the midsection of the run. It's kind of ridiculous. They even did the ending technically with the Hex the Havoc cheese.
Pop and Soda are tied for second place at $40 apiece. And then we have trans rights, trans wrongs, and trans lefts as options for the name as well. And we have a second bid war for One Shot, which is to Return the Sun or Return Home. And Return Home is in the lead on that at $200.
Oh yeah, speaking of like trans rights, obviously, like I said, given the times we're in, there were a lot of memes and donations and like bid wars and stuff for like trans rights as the name for things. Like literally my runner's choice for this run, because like if you don't know GDQ, right? When you're in a run for the event, they typically ask you things like, oh, what's your runner's choice for incentives you want donations to go towards? And there were a lot of incentives during the event where the winning name, you can even kind of see on the screen there, there was a lot of incentives during runs in the marathon, in terms of like naming bid wars and stuff, where trans rights was winning. And even during the RCT run I mentioned earlier, speaking to what I was talking about for that, with manipulating guests or just manipulating the game in general to meet the scenario objectives. One of the objectives is just to build a certain amount of coasters. And so at one point in the run, he built like, I think a coaster with just a single loop, and colored it the colors of the trans flag and named it Trans Rights. Shout out to Dynamation, dude. That run was fun. Definitely recommend watching that if you haven't. Lots of good bits there, like I just mentioned with the trans rights coaster. And also, like Xanadir and Klinka, who are on the couch. Yeah, those two were on the couch. They literally had like seat handlebars made out of pool noodles, which was pretty funny. But yeah, slight tangent.
With Return the Sun at $85. And y'all, we do have a few games in between, but there's still plenty of time. If you've got a favorite in there and you want to bring it into the lead, I know you have time. You gotta make it happen, but you have the opportunity.
All right. So now we're in the sewers. Yeah, I know, a bit of a weird jump, but we're in the sewers now. I imagine this is what the sewers look like beneath the hotel. And the reason we're actually here is because the goal that Frankie told us about before is to grab 2 keys from 2 more obstacle courses. But the power for both of those courses are out right now, so we're gonna have to go turn the power on in this breaker room. Don't ask me why it's in the sewers. I don't know either. So we'll go in here, turn those 2 on real quick. Outside of bunny hopping to maintain momentum from the slides, you can just do little slides all over the place to speed yourself up a little bit. Doesn't save a whole lot, but it adds up over the course of the run.
Yeah, but it's kind of different depending on the category. At least in that room specifically, for 100% where you have to grab 10 Frankie dolls, just the requirements for Hundo, there's a Frankie doll you have to grab in that room. So they can't just do the movement I did here where you slide right into the corner and then activate the 2 generators, or breakers, I mean. You have to first grab the Frankie doll and then do a slide. You can't, or no, don't even do a slide. I don't even do a slide, at least. I just run over, because doing a slide is not really worth it at that point. I accidentally skipped ahead 7 minutes. Whoops. Give me a quick sec after I skip this ad. I think it's like right here.
First to grab to the
It's like a little bit after.
step.
Right about here. Alright.
Give him a quick second to open this door. And then when he opens the door and when we get through, we'll have another kinda sorta stealth section. And I say kinda sorta because it's meant to be somewhat of a stealth section, because it's just a breaker puzzle to open a door. But they introduce a bit of danger with this one, because Frankie starts chasing you after this chase sequence starts. So you can see his hand descending there. He's meant to try to grab us during this chase sequence. But he's so slow, we don't really have to worry about him. He's not really that much of a threat. So when we activate that last breaker, I'm gonna go ahead and do a checkpoint reload. Because when the checkpoint there just puts me at the top of the stairs. So I don't have to wade through the water again, because movement through water is very slow. What's not slow though, and good for charity, is this cutscene that y'all donated for. So there's Henry Hotline.
Yeah, my commentary there got thrown off from the phone alarm going off again, but I like at the start I rebounded pretty quick. I think the alarms finally stopped after this cutscene.
He's in the timeout room. This is where I go sulking when my runs die. But yeah, don't worry too much about what he's saying. He's just alluding to lore that you don't really see too much of in the speedrun. And of course, he is going to meet an explosive end towards the end of this, but for about, I'd say, the next 30, 40 seconds, or donations.
Absolutely, and I do want to say, everybody, thank you so much for raising $5,000 for MSF to watch this cutscene. You know, it's a very cathartic cutscene, and also all of that money is going to such an incredible cause. So thank you so much for that. And we have some wonderful generous donations from people like Monkey Thief, who donated $25 to MSF and said, more incentives means more GDQ, and we all want more GDQ. Thanks to all the runners, commentators, and everyone working behind the scenes too. Yes, shout out to our incredible tech team, social media team, production. Y'all, they are absolutely crushing it. Donations. And also $120 from SR Engineers saying greetings from Germany. Thank you so much. Greetings back to you.
Yeah, we're gonna tune back into what Henry's up to, because he's about to get an important call here. Hello? Oh.
Hi, Henry.
And that's what happens when you don't pick up that call about your car's extended warranty.
Exactly.
That's what happens on the other end of the line, not to you.
Yeah. Yeah, a little fun fact about that cutscene. You actually get an achievement for watching that cutscene all the way through. That is not a joke. And I believe the actual literal name for the achievement, and I believe it's on Steam and consoles, because this game was on consoles, is
Yep, on PS4 and Xbox, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, I think it's just PS5, I'm not positive. Get up. Oh, apparently just PS5, okay. Oh, no, wait, it is on Xbox. Yeah, it is on Xbox. Okay, well, it's on Xbox Series and PS5 if y'all console players ever want to play it. Speaking of non-PC ports of Mascot Horror, Poppy Chapter 4 Mobile just came out recently, so I need to download that and try it out. I might honestly try it out tomorrow. Depending. I don't know. I have a lot of downtime at work for reasons I'll explain later. So I might have some time to play it, but we'll see.
please leave a message. Thank you, Super Lou, for adding that in. Anyway, we're on to the next two obstacle courses. This is the trampoline park. The trampoline park is kind of another series of mini games. We have the ring minigame that we just did, where we just simply jump through the hoops. Now we have to chase after some noob noobs. Don't worry what I'm doing to the noob noobs. We're catching them, supposedly.
Yeah, they're just they're 90% pieces.
Oh yeah, speaking of the noob noobs here in the trampoline park, I just remembered something. I have to go to the other room to get it though, so I'll be right back. I won't need to go to a break screen or anything, but I just need a quick second. Okay. Let me put my earbuds back in. Also, I'm using earbuds. Let's see the cord right there. I'm using earbuds because I did have some Corsair or a Corsair headset. But I had a moment of gamer rage playing Expedition 33 the other day where I was just really bad at timing parries and was fed up and broke them. So I'll probably just have to work with these earbuds for now and get like a replacement pair later or something. But anyway, speaking of the noob noobs, kind of similar to, or actually not kind of similar, but because of the success of this game, a lot of people playing it, the creators of the game, Superlou, of course, they did a campaign on Makeship, which is basically, think of it kind of like Kickstarter, but for merch. They did something like that for a plush of the Noob Noobs. And kind of similar to what I did in the past with my Poppy Chapter 2 and 3 runs of getting a plush of the main villain and having that on stage for the run. I was thinking, okay, I want to do the same with the Noob Noobs. I didn't have it in time for the run because of just the timing of the Makeship campaign. But I did get the plush of the Noob Noob. Here he is. In all his glory. So now I get to pop the Noob Noob in real life. But yeah, it's just a fun piece of merch that I finally get to have relating to this game. Even if I don't speedrun it much in the coming months, it's just a nice piece of merch and memorabilia to have.
So when you tickle them, pizza sauce comes out.
Yeah.
And they're screaming because they're so excited.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely not because they're in
I
pain.
like to imagine when we actually poke them, we just like poke them and they pop like a balloon. But yeah, this is pretty much mostly what the section is comprised of, just like alternating back and forth between doing the rings and catching the noob noobs.
Yeah, the difficulty there, especially in the noob section, is while
Yeah.
the spawns are determinate, which is to say they'll always be in the same place, which is why Nerd is starting in the location they are, the movement is not.
Yeah, and there's actually a bit of a skip you can do here if you get lucky, because there's a key in the middle of this arena, so technically you could just go and grab it early by jumping on one of the rings as they rise up. But it's pretty difficult to do because you have a very thin ledge to stand on with those rings, and you only get 3 tries to do it before you start losing time.
Yeah, honestly, for the most part, that was pretty solid placements on the Noob Noobs. There can be some weird patterns you can get sometimes, or like the second 2 Noob Noobs I interact with near that little ball pit, they can like go into this corner over here where that Frankie cutout is and waste me some time, but they didn't do that during any of the Noob Noob rounds, thankfully.
I also grabbed the key as it descended there, just to grab it a bit early. And normally I would do a checkpoint reload right there after grabbing the key, because you get a checkpoint when you grab it. But it's a bit slower RTA, so I opted not to do it. Anyway, if you remember that incinerator room, we'll be returning to that, because now that we have our first key, we'll be trying to go to the final area of the game, Frosted Peak. But we need to do a breaker puzzle again to activate the door that leads to that area. And this puzzle again introduces a bit of danger, because we have to do it over that big incinerator that we were going over before. And I make this movement look easy, though it kind of is. But like I said, there's a danger factor to it. There's an incinerator below us the entire time. And so if I like mess up or mess up a jump where I'm trying to skip between rails and fall in that pit, it's an instant death. Thankfully, though, there is kind of a bit of leeway with it, because if you do end up dying, the game does like save your state with the amount of breakers you've hit and whatnot.
Yeah, and I know that because I've had some practice runs or I had some practice runs in the past before this, where I would get all 4 breakers in the incinerator activated, but die, and then I reload checkpoint, and I went back to that room to redo the puzzle, assuming I died. Stuff. Assuming I died, assuming all the breakers had been hit, and then I went back to do the puzzle, and all the breakers were hit. So it's like kind of a eureka moment where I realized that's the thing.
Also, when I opened that door right there, you saw 2 keys required, but I only put in 1. There's a weird bug on the release version of the game, which is what I'm running on, version 1.0, where you only have to put in 1 key to activate that door instead of 2. Weird old patch bug is what it comes down to pretty much.
Yeah, otherwise we would have to go into a whole different area with a water park, which
is
no fun,
very
but
slow.
Yeah.
So we have
Remember
this...
what we said about water physics?
Uh-huh. Anyway, we have this last obstacle course, which has a lot of small movement skips, kind of like what I did in the obstacle courses throughout this run. I did one there on those rotating bars to skip taking a trampoline.
Yeah, that one can be kind of tricky because like the collision on the rotating bars are a little slippery. So like you have to really press into the wall as you're jumping to get up those.
I did a slide jump right there to avoid a trigger that would normally cause some purple goop to gradually rise as we do this last obstacle course. This one we have to deal with one of those cylinders. I got bopped down, but that's fine. Got bopped down again.
Because we despawned what is essentially the actual time-gated danger in this zone, we can really just take it at pace. And as you can see here, as particularly on the release candidate of the game, some obstacles are more suggestions than others. So by using well-timed slide jumps, we can trivialize some portions of the obstacle course here.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, though, because if you accidentally do it in the wrong place, you can end up falling off the obstacle course and have to start from the very beginning of it. There is also a shortcut I could have done there by jumping on those lights, but it's a little tricky, so I opted to not go for it. I did go for those slides, though, which is a pretty neat shortcut. So we're pretty much done with the bulk of Frosted Peak, but we have one last obstacle here, which is the bane of my existence in runs, and it's a big gatekeeper. Whether I get a PB here, which is the bane of my existence in runs, and it's a big gatekeeper. Whether I get a PB or not, because it's like that cylinder we encountered during Deputy Duck's course, but with saw blades everywhere. Whether I get a PB or not, because it's like that cylinder we encountered during Deputy Duck's course, but with saw blades everywhere.
Okay, we'll take a little low over a little high.
Yeah, but we got past the first try. Even if you don't like get it super cleanly, you can still recover it.
I was low-key kind of worried I was going to die, though, with how that went.
You just don't want to slide at such a place that your momentum carries you off the sides or too far to the top, because that'll put you in the saw blades.
Yep. Anyways, if anyone here has played Fall Guys by chance, that's basically what we're doing for our final boss. I'm not kidding, because it's literally the hexagon stage from that game verbatim. Before actually starting that, though, I'm going to hit a checkpoint reload right there. That skips a cutscene where Evil Frankie dive bombs into the arena. There's also a bit of like lost collision here in the floor, so we can just pop right through and start the fight. That avoids a cutscene where
Yeah, there's literally no collision there. You can just like walk into it while crouched and it'll pop through. It's a weird release patch thing. But they just didn't put collision there for some reason.
That avoids a cutscene where good Frankie basically wishes us good luck. And we're just going to do the hexagon game. There's a bit of cheese I'm going to try to go for at the start of it if Frankie doesn't kill me. Okay.
Yep, that rarely happens. I've had it happen before, but not in a marathon setting. So that's a new one. I didn't say that's never happened before, but that's a new one. I've also had it sometimes where once I get in the cheese spot, which you'll see in a second,
Frankie can just like get a little bit too close to you and end up killing you. Even though you're in a spot where you're technically supposed to be safe. Because that's how Frankie can be sometimes.
That one. It's like you're trying to stay in one place to go to where the first plate dissolved that you stood on.
Yeah, unlike how you normally play the Hexagon game, here we're specifically falling as fast as possible, and you'll see why in a moment.
Yeah, because we're trying to set up a cheese strat to basically get to a spot where Frankie can't get to us. So just dive in this corner. There we go.
That'll do it.
Yep. So we're basically in this cheese spot where we can sit for the next 2 minutes, because this is kind of similar to the Crash Course, a timed survival section. And like I said, we just have to wait here for a little bit, although there's a bit of a funny dialogue we can get in a second. If anyone has played this game or even just heard the soundtrack, you know what's coming up. So we'll let Frankie get a quick word in here.
Yeah, and this portion of Hexa Havoc in particular is why I was pretty much the main reason why I was sad the run was as late as it was. And not in like prime time or something as part of the actual horror block. Because I was very curious in the lead up to this run, even before the schedule came out and stuff. Just to see how the crowd would react to Frankie dropping an F-bomb here. Because it's so funny.
Thank you, Frankie, for that. He censored himself, so we're fine. But yeah, like I said, this is basically a 2-minute time survival section. We just have to sit here and wait. So you can probably throw it to donations for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Of course. All right, I have $25 sent in from Nature Kicks that says, I love SGDQ week because when I wake up at 4 a.m. without meaning to, there's rad stuff happening and I can donate to a good cause. I'm putting this towards naming the one-shot character Trans Rights. Absolutely. As a reminder, that is one of our player name choices, Trans Rights. Absolutely. As a reminder, that is one of our player name choices for one shot, and that has put Trans Rights in second place with $60. Big Chungus is still in the lead at $131.65, but you can make a difference and change that. And we also have $10 here from Aksanyi that says, I'm up way too early. But no matter, it just means I get to enjoy more GDQ runs. I can sleep when GDQ is over. That's how it works, right? Here's the deal. We do encourage that you get good rest. We already had some breakfast, so we also encourage eating well, being hydrated, and getting a little exercise in, which is what is happening right here. You know, this is exercise in this run, parkour run.
Yeah. So time is coming up on a little bit. It'll be when I flip this lever after this countdown is done, so in about 5-ish seconds. All right, time.
GG.
So it's like a 22:44? Yeah, 22:44-ish, maybe 22:43 real time.
I know it's a bit early, but hopefully that was enough. Also, this is our reward for defeating Frankie.
I meant to say satisfying. Hopefully that was satisfying enough. There, but like early morning jitters, I forgot to mention it.
He's gonna get dunked on by a bunch of noobs that were stored in that tube. This ending is kind of funny because like we get this ending scene where he gets dunked on, and then we get thrown to some fake credits before we get thrown to the real credits. I'm just waiting until we get there so we can do shoutouts when we get there. But I guess one quick shout out I can do real quick is to Superloo Games. They are the developers of this game, and I love this game to bits. It came out during a period of time between the yearly Poppy releases where there was a bit of a drought of mascot horror games. So this was a very pleasant surprise I just randomly stumbled on through YouTube. So thank you, Superloo, for making this. Those are definitely not Squid Game bowl of money right there. Our 5 million cash prize, as he says. But yeah, I already gave my shout outs to Superloo. Some other quick shout outs I want to give real quickly while we're doing this ending. Of course, T-Tree for couching and giving moral support and stuff. JPEG for hosting, you were great. And Also, just to GDQ for letting me run Mascot Horror again. I randomly stumbled into maining Mascot Horror for the past couple of years, and it's just nice to run the game from that kind of genre, even though it's kind of niche, for the third time now, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, the fact that half of my GDQ runs are Mascot Horror runs now. Gotta make it a fourth one. Probably not with FNAF, the new FNAF, because FNAF isn't allowed at GDQ for controversy-related reasons. But maybe something else, like, you know, we have Indigo Park Chapter 2 coming out, which I'm looking forward to, so maybe I could do that, depending on how the fun for that pans out. But yeah.
Mainly it for me. I will be commenting 2 runs later in the week, which you should check out. Still Wakes the Deep and Balatro. Both of these runs are going to be super sick. And also definitely check out the run after this. If you thought the main game in this game was fast, it's got nothing on Ao-Oni. You're going to be in for a treat with that.
Yeah, that was the run. Pretty happy with how it panned out overall. I mean, obviously had that weird tech jank with the mouse, and real life tech jank with my phone alarm going off, but like honestly, like commentary and execution wise was pretty solid, I think. It was just pretty nice in general, bouncing off of Petrie, because like typically when I explain things there's a fair amount of dead air. There's like stuff I don't feel needs explaining, so like he kind of filled in that gap, which is pretty nice. Alright, so that's how my run went. And now we move on to Tuesday evening / Wednesday morning. So that's when the horror block was. That was the horror block. Let me bring up the thread again, see I took selfies with on that day. Here we go. I met Shenka, took a selfie with him. Also Juho and Tropes. Also a few breakers, like I think actually it's a couple days after, but I met us and Empire Ship from Binary Breakers. Shots of Binary Breakers as well. So on the last day. But yeah, then on Wednesday morning, like very early Wednesday morning, going back to the schedule. Also, there were a few pretty solid runs. I remember really enjoying Bioshock and RE7. Definitely watch both of those. But we get to Still Wakes the Deep, which I commentated alongside Captain Ezekiel or just Zeke and Meta, both of whom either routed or ran the run at some point. Honestly, it was pretty fun commentating it. Like, I honestly gotta give props to Sharkat for executing the run as well as he did. Because, like, he hit Void Crawl Skip first try for one, which is a skip that is not only really late into the run, it's like you really gotta get it right to make sure the run goes well, but it's also a pretty big time loss if you miss it. I think it's like 30 seconds to a minute if you miss it. And it just basically skips a big crawling sequence. So we got it like literally first try. That was super high. Like literally, like we were standing up clapping for a brief moment because it was so hyped.
And then early in the run before that, or right after skipping Moore, he was taking the elevator up to go to the helipad right after. And he had a weird glitch happen that we had never seen before then. He somehow managed to die. Maybe he got killed by Moore on the way up. And then once he reloaded after the death, he got ported to the top of the elevator. So he didn't have to wait for the elevator ride at all. Which the fact they got that is absolutely nutty. I think it's actually, if I'm not wrong, I think it's clipped on GDQ's Instagram. Let me see if I can find it actually, so I can share it on the screen. Shouts to this remix, The Last Surprise. Oh wait, I might have to find it from an external source. I think someone shared the clip I'm referring to in a Discord. I think someone shared it in Sharkat's Discord. Or maybe in the speedrun. Oh yeah, no, I found it, I found it. Oh my god, that is loud. I'm gonna have to turn that down just so I don't blast your ears. Here it is, let's see this current post I was talking about.
Or you're not gonna be able to make it. But
see how
we're going up this lift.
See how we're taking up the elevator. Like I said, this is right after skipping Moore with the outbound jumps near the fence and going onto the container afterwards. So this is the elevator right after that, just for context.
Again, so you know, we have time for. Whoa! What did I die to there? What?
Yeah, he literally died on the elevator ride. Like, how does that happen, brother? And I guess when that happened, he hit a checkpoint that boarded him up to the top. Because you'll see, he reloads here, and he's right at the top of the skip past it, but he like ended up at the top of the elevator.
Possible, or you're not gonna be able to make it. But we're going up this lift again, so you know, we have time for. Whoa! What did I die to there? What? wait, I've never seen that before. Wait, did that save time?
Yo, what? That's a new one.
That actually saved time. That's crazy. Yeah, it warps me to the top.
Brother.
Right. Okay, something to share with the Discord in the morning. All right.
That's crazy.
New skip discovered. Confirmed. I think actually, if I'm not wrong, I think it's being labbed in the Discord for the game, right? For speedrun Discord for the game right now. Or maybe it was, but it isn't anymore. Interesting. Apparently you can get out of bounds on the lift. Interesting. Yeah, still makes Steve happen. Pretty solid run. Thank you, Shark Applet. Maybe on couch. I was probably going to be on couch in some capacity anyway, because like it's a Chinese ring game, And I love Chinese room stuff, so even if I wasn't a speedrunner of the game, which I have done a couple of speedruns of it, I was still going to try to participate in some way, just because I really love Chinese rooms games. So yeah, Still Wakes the Deep happened. Really good run by Sharkcat. I highly recommend you watch it, by the way. And then I just crashed. Because, like, I was thinking of staying up for Control and Siren right after, but I had already been up till 6 a.m. the previous night doing my run of finding Frankie, so I did not want to chance it and give myself sleep deprivation for a second night in a row. But just like crashed afterwards. And nothing too much to note for the rest of the day on Wednesday. Although there are a couple of really cool runs, actually. The All Helmets Titanfall 2 race, I'm mentioning that because I have it on screen. But the All Helmets Titanfall 2 race between Brian Otto and Sapphire and Pink, both pretty cool people, by the way, was pretty fun to watch. And even before that, actually, Tetris 99 was pretty sick. Because, like, the thing with it being Tetris 99 is obviously it's a multiplayer game. So, like, people from the crowd could participate if they entered the secret code that they showed before each round. So, it's pretty cool to get to participate in that. And say Chronica was a pretty interesting rhythm game. I didn't see all of the showcase, but it was pretty cool. Oh, speaking of hype runs, though. My god, the co-op Mario Odyssey run was so fucking good. Zack in the Box and Jambo absolutely killed it. Because, like, the thing with Mario Odyssey co-op, because it is co-op, the two-player mode, is you have the addition of Cappy as a second player, and there's so much, like, movement stuff and management that Cappy can do. With that, like, added dimension to the run. Like, and they were, like, locked the fuck in, too. Like, literally, they got a time that was only a minute off their PV, which was a 54, and also the world record for co-op. They literally got a 55 on stage, and it was the most hyped thing ever. Oh my goodness. And also the commentary was, like, insanely good. Like, you have to remember that Odyssey is a very intense game, execution-wise. And granted, he wasn't, like, actively participating besides doing some occasional tricks as Cappy, but, like, Zack in the Box is, like, did pretty good commentary throughout the whole thing. Given the insane pace of the run, it's kind of crazy. It's like huge props to Zack for the commentary. Good job, dude. And I stayed up for a few runs in the silly block after that. AW Fight Forever and an airport for aliens currently run by dogs. Was a couple of highlights for me. I didn't watch Fight Forever at the time. I watched it afterwards in the VODs, but it was still pretty funny. Also, shouts to Shag Fu, the runner account Gooby, who literally had like a cardboard cutout of Shag's face on stage. It was pretty funny. I even saw him carrying it around during the event, and I was like, bruh. Alright, so let me move on to Tuesday. Oh, spat my mic, one sec. Then we move on to Thursday. More silly block stuff. One particular run I want to highlight was Nubby's Number Factory. It's basically a roguelike Peggle, is what it essentially is. And it has like a really ridiculous art style that kind of reminds me a lot of Baldi's Basics, which I think is pretty cool. Just neat to see that art style in games. Also nice Persona Q opening music. Yeah, Nubby's Number Factory was very fun. I even made a reference to it in my commentary for Balatro. We'll get to that in a second. Also some silly block runs I still need to watch. Like, speaking of Binary Breakers, Happy by 3 running Skate Horse. Need to watch that at some point. Also, part way through the Wirehead run, I still need to finish that. Oh yeah, and Emergency Call Ambulance, that was a pretty fun one too. Alright, and then we move on to Community Clash Friday evening? No, Thursday evening, I think. Yeah. That one was fun. Because Community Clash is basically more or less a speedrunning twist on Family Feud. Because they had like two groups of speedrunners trying to figure out the answers that people answered in a survey. And what's kind of cool about it too is that literally the game's name, Community Clash, the answers they used for the game show were actual answers that people picked in a prompt or a form that they linked before the event, like I think a couple weeks before. So it's not just like a thing they pre-planned beforehand, they actually had the community participate in it. Hence the name Community Clash, which I think was a pretty cool addition. Also, I don't know why Nintendo 64 was in best game controllers, and as high as it was as well, that's actually criminal. But anyway. Then we move to Friday, July 11th. Not too much to note there, because like most of the runs I was hyped for generally had already happened by this point, although the Doom of the Dark Ages run by Blood Thunder was pretty good. But then we get to Friday afternoon, and we get Balatro. Of course, Cloyce was running this, 7 decks, random seed of course, and it's with skips, because that's kind of the category that Cloyce is used to with this game, and it's also just faster than skipless. Just facts. And I'll be completely straight with you. Out of all the runs I was participating in some form this event, this was the run I was most nervous for. Believe it or not. Because like the thing with Balatro, right, is it's a roguelike. And naturally with it being a roguelike, there's a lot of like decision making and lots of different mechanics that come into play. So given that there's like so much to explain with this kind of game overall, more or less, I just like naturally put a lot of pressure on myself to perform, except in this case I'm not a runner, and also just like relay the like concepts and decision making that go into the game in a relatable way that isn't like too wordy or is like relatable. So I was just like worried about nailing the commentary more than anything else. And apparently, even according to the official GGQ Blue Sky, I did pretty good. So happy with how the commentary turned out. And that's just the thing with Balatro. Like like I said, there is so much to explain, but like at some point you kind of just get into the flow of it. And you kind of just run with it and not really care. And that's kind of how this run came out. Yeah, it was pretty fun all around. Well, one particular thing I remember that was kind of funny is, obviously there's a lot of food-based jokers in the game, like the Gross Michael, the ice cream, etc. Also nice personified dancing opening. There's a lot of food-based jokers in the game, like the banana and the ice cream, and the Cavendish even. So at one point in the run, I think it was like 27 minutes in or something like that. You can see the final time was 57 minutes. Around 27 minutes in, roughly, someone from the audience passed a banana up to Hectique, who's one of the commentators. And it was so funny because like for the first like 15 seconds, I didn't even notice he had a banana. I just heard the crowd laughing and thought, oh, they're just reacting to what Cloyce is doing. And then I turned over, see on the couch, see the Hectique was holding a banana, and I was like, what? Like, I didn't say that, but like, that's what I was thinking in my brain. Like, what? Where'd you get that? I also, like, just offhand tangent, but I made an offhand comment about Nubby that got the crowd to chant, so thanks, GG crowd. And the rest of it, not many particular runs, not very many runs I was looking forward to. I'm still in the middle of watching Mario Kart World and Deltarune.
So that's how the last couple days of the event went overall. Although I did have an unfortunate thing happen while I was there, because obviously we're in the year 2025. COVID is, well, it isn't a huge deal nowadays. I would say personally, it is still a thing. It is still still cause people some complications if they get infected. So people try to usually be cautious about that by like wearing masks. Sometimes in some cases getting a booster and things like that. This event in particular, there was like a huge spate after the event ended of people getting COVID. The GDQ flu, things like that. I was unfortunately one of those. Because on Friday evening, there it is. So Friday evening, right here, right after I commentated for Balatro, I noticed I had a bit of a dry throat, which turned out later to not be a sore throat. So I thought, okay, it's fine. It's probably just a dry throat or something. I'll just make sure to stay hydrated by drinking a lot of water, which I did. But then on the flights home after the event, the following day on Saturday, I got not only the sore throat not going away, go figure, but I also wound up having a bit of a fever. I don't know if it was a fever exactly, but it felt like it for sure because I had a bit of lightheadedness that I noticed on one of the first flights I took home. And I even took like a test this past Monday and it came back positive. I even took a test this morning and it came out positive too, so still healing up, but we'll see. But yeah, unfortunately, moral of the story, I ended up contracting COVID at some point. Either it was people at the event not masking, which I kind of expect, or what I think is the most likely, was actually the flights I took to and from my local airport. Because I mentioned how earlier when I was talking about flights, I don't have many good opportunities for getting flights. Because just because of where I live by proxy. And because my local airport is smaller than most other airports, the plane I took to and from my city, which I'm not going to name for obvious reasons, it's very small. So small, in fact, that I couldn't even fit overhead baggage on, and we had to put it in like a valet situation to pick it up in the following airport. And because of the airplane being so small, not only could we not fit overhead baggage, but we also had to like fit kind of tightly together in the seats in each row. And so I imagine I caught COVID or whatever I ended up catching, whether it was COVID or not, from one of the people that were sitting next to me in the plane that weren't masked. And to be fair, I wasn't masked either because I didn't think I would need it at the time, though of course I learned my lesson. But yeah, either way, got COVID. Thankfully I'm recovering now. And yeah, that's basically the event in a nutshell. Nothing in specific to talk about besides that, but there were a couple of nice things. I already mentioned Hockey Backward earlier. I won't go into too much detail, but I did do some gender-related stuff with her. That was pretty affirming, so thank you, Hockey Backward, for letting me do that. Very helpful on my gender journey, for sure. I also went out for group lunches the first time. I think towards the middle of the week. I went to this local pizza place in Minneapolis called Pizza Lucha, I think is the name. With a bunch of other horror speedrunners like Sharkat, Meta, Avocado, etc. That was pretty fun. And while I was in the private practice, well, not the private practice room, but like the public gaming room, because in addition to the private practice room, there's a public gaming room as well, where just anyone who's attending can play. games on their own systems and whatnot. I went to there and I did a kind of sort of speed run of the first 3 to 4 chapters of Raincoat, because I'm working towards doing a full game speed run of that game at some point. And I say kind of sorta because I didn't do it in a single sitting, although I was planning to at one point, because obviously it's a very long game. So what I wound up doing is I split the game up into 2 chapter segments. So for the first segment I did like chapter 0, the prologue, and chapter 1. And then I did another segment the day after, which is chapters 2 and 3. Still haven't done chapters 4 and 5. I need to do that at some point, but yeah, I did like kind of individual segment runs in that format, just to see really what the length of the full run would look like, because no one's in a full run on PC yet, so I was just kind of doing that to test the waters. And from I can't say for certain, but I think on my first run on PC even, I'm gonna wind up beating the Switch 1 record that Yosh, I'm forgetting the name of the runner. Let me look it up. Atomic Yoshi, there we go. I discovered through that like kind of running or segment running that I'm probably gonna end up being Atomic Yoshi's record on Switch 1 by a lot on PC. Just because like the fast forwarding is so much faster and the loading is a lot faster as well. I don't have an exact time estimation because obviously I haven't played through the whole game to be sure, but I imagine it's going to be like pretty close to sub 7 because it's saved versus the 8 hours that Switch 1 takes, because it does save that much. I don't think I'll quite get there first try, like first completed run in terms of like, you know, sub 7 things like that, but yeah. Still good to see, like, it's gonna be so much shorter. That'll definitely save me a lot of time on runs. But yeah, that's the end of the event recap. But it's not the end of the stream, at least not quite yet. Because I did mention earlier that there is an artist alley for this event, so there's lots of goodies you could buy in addition to just attending the event. So I'm going to bring up a few of those to my desk right now. So the first thing I want to show is actually not related to Artist Alley, but something related to Balatro. Because when I was meeting up with Cloyce in the practice room before the run, he gave each of the commentators, because Homie and Hectiger commentating alongside me, this little pack of playing cards right here, if you can see that. So thank you, Cloyce, for giving me that. Very much appreciate it. I was honestly kind of expecting it to be like Balatro themed, but that's still pretty good. We got the playing cards from Cloyce, but I also got a lot of stuff from the Artist Alley, like I said. So I got a few keychains that are pretty cool. I got this one that's pretty cute. It's Robin. I don't know if you can see it. It might be a little hard to see in the camera light. There we go. It's Robin holding an umbrella. That's pretty cool. On the opposite side of the spectrum, though, we have Child holding a knife because he's being evil. One that I thought was really cute, though, and I did end up buying at least one, was this one right here, if I could show it clearly. Oh, that's probably good enough. So that's Mary there in a treasure chest. It's Mary, of course, from Persona 5 Royal. The stand I got these keychains from, which I forgot the name of, unfortunately, or the name of the artist from that the stand was for, unfortunately. But this artist had like a bunch of keychains of Persona 5 characters in poses like that, which I thought was really cool. And they also had a bunch of like gacha themed keychains there in general. Well, not keychains specifically, but just some gacha themed art in general. And there were also a lot of
stations there that have a lot of gacha inspired art in general, which is really cool to see. Also, from a different station, not from that same one, but a different one. This little shaker right here. You can hear that. Which has Nezuko in it, which is pretty cute. Shouts to Demon Slayer. And then I got these, I forget exactly what they're called, this type of goodie is called. But I got these like magnets or something. I forget exactly what they're called anyway. I got these really cool arts of some Genshin characters. So we got little Raiden A right there, my personal favorite Archon, by the way. Oh, actually no, I kind of like the Zhongli, but Raiden's pretty cool. And then my boys from Sumeru. Got Cyno right there. And Tainari. Oh, and I also got. There's also a couple of bigger ones, which I had sitting. I had this like bag right here, sitting in the back. There's one artist that had a bunch of perlers sitting around. Of course, a couple of them being gacha themes, so I had to buy one. Or I had to buy them. So we got a couple of perlers here. We got this really cute one with Lisa, of course, from Genshin. And then this really cute one of Ganyu. And in addition to that, I got this right here, which, as you can see, is the non-binary pride flag, of course, encased in a heart. What's really cool about it, too, is it's kind of a fidget toy. You can see these, like, little beads right here. You can rotate them as a fidget toy, which is pretty cool. I also got these posters right here. I don't know if you can see that. Actually, yeah. Actually, wait, let me move stuff so I can show it a bit easier. Better. Okay. Yeah, there we go. There's this poster. You can't quite see it because it's like a bit up close to the camera. It's in a bag. But it's themed after Persona 5. And it says, don't go to sleep, explore mementos instead. And it shows just Joker riding in the Monobus. And like at the top of the poster, you can see the rest of the Phantom Thieves walking up there on the catwalk. And if we flip that around, there's this really cute Luigi's Mansion themed poster, which says, rest in peace inside Luigi's Mansion. We'll never leave you alone. But there's also one really cool poster that's hidden among these three that I want to pull out and show. Because it's just like, this goes so hard, like actually. Right here, look at this. It might be a little hard to see, but that's Expedition 33 theme poster. And it says, like before the fracture, you can see all the main cast right there. I again forgot the artist who did this, but like, props to you, buddy. I love this. Speaking of stuff from the Artist Alley, I love to bits, because there are a lot of really good Artist Alley exhibitions this time. Please make that a regular thing, JDQ. I don't have it right here, because it's a thing that has to be shipped outside of, purchasing it at the Artist Alley at the event. But there's this other station from an artist, I believe called Subconscious Realms is the name of their website. And they have art kind of similar to what I just showed with the posters, where it's, like stationary art, but it's almost a moving poster in a way, kind of like a diorama or something. And there's three really cool ones they had of like map art of different regions from Genshin. The continent from Expedition 33, so of course I had to buy that. And this really cool diorama art, I forget what the type of art is actually called, of Outer Wilds, where it has like all the planets of the solar system, and it has the spaceship you use in the game actually moving around the starting planet, which is such a cool detail. I love it. They each cost $100 or so it's easily the most expensive thing I bought in the Artist Alley, but worth my money.
So that's about all I got in the Artist Alley and stuff, I think. Yeah. Yeah, pretty good event all around. As you can see, lots of stuff I wound up doing at the event. I got to participate in a lot of runs and a lot of group stuff that I didn't do before because of live stuff. So it's overall pretty cool. As far as the next event goes, I'm not sure about that. Part because I don't know what I'd be able to offer, and also part because gender exploration, but so I don't know if I'd be comfortable presenting publicly, but either way, it's a maybe. The only game I can really think of to maybe submit for it is like a random mascot horror game like Indigo Park I mentioned before, or Silent Hill 2 Remake with the Breakout Tech, which I will be running for Hotfix this weekend. Mention that in a little bit. But other than that, I'm not really sure. Maybe I could resubmit some runs that got rejected this past event, but we'll see. Speaking of, since I just mentioned it, I'm running Silent Hill 2 Remake with the Breakout Tech for a marathon this weekend.
Not really an event, but a Hotfix show. It's for a little celebration that GDQ is doing on their Hotfix series for non-binary people, International Non-Binary People Day. Non-Binary People's Day, I think is the name of the event. Yeah, Non-Binary People's Day. I'll be doing a run of that, of Silent Hill 2 Remake with the Breakout Tech for that this Saturday at 3:30 roughly. Of course in CST, so adjust for your time zones. That should be pretty cool. I think it'll go pretty well. I think I did actually some sciencing in anticipation for that run, with the prison skip specifically. That's a nice wake up, get out there. I did some sciencing for that recently, just to see if I could find a way to make the second breakout for prison skip a bit more consistent. And I just so happened to find an angle, I think, that works pretty well for me for that one. So I think it'll go okay. Just need to nail the execution. So yeah, as Wake Up Get Out There plays, I think that's a good point to end off the stream. I'll find some place to hang up all the stuff I got in the Artist Alley in the meantime. Before y'all go, though, there's a few plugs I want to do as usual. My main channel is nerd_squared, which you can also find by typing !YT in Twitch chat. I post a bunch of speedruns and stuff there, as well as occasional challenge runs. And there's my VODs channel, nerd_squared VODs, which you can also find by typing !VODs channel. I also got a clips channel that I upload to every so often, nerd_squared clips. And got Twitch, which is a nerd_squared with a 3 instead of the E in nerd. I stream 3 to 4 times a week doing speedruns, challenge runs, casual playthroughs, things of that sort. So if video games, and especially speedruns of video games, interest you, check me out. Also got a couple of Twitter and Blue Sky accounts. For the speedrunning side of things, that's at n3rdsquared.bsky.social. I post random speedrun stuff that interests me and occasional IRL stuff. And for the VTubing side of things, that's at FukuVT or fukuVT.bsky.social. I post going live notifications there and occasional character stuff if I feel like it. And for those that are watching the VOD on YouTube, all of these links will be in the description. And for those that don't follow my YouTube, these links will be in a link tree for Twitter or for Twitch. That link tree will be linked in the panel below the stream. And for Twitter and Blue Sky, that will be in my bio. So like I said earlier, I'm still recovering from COVID. I did test positive earlier today. I did an at-home test. But I'm feeling a lot better now. So probably going to be good to resume normal stuff, including work, because I did have to take time off work to self-isolate tomorrow. But out of abundance of caution, I'm probably not going to stream Saturday, just because. So most likely be back on Monday or Tuesday with either Call of Duty 2 or Veteran, because I haven't played that in a bit, or more speedruns, so whatever I feel like. And I'll see you all then. Thank you all for watching.